Paras has big, round, expressive eyes with proper pupils that track movement and catch light. It looks at you, and something behind those eyes registers your presence. Parasect does not have those eyes anymore. Only two white circles where eyes used to be. No pupil, no iris, nothing looking back. That is the entire story of Parasect compressed into one visual detail. Start with the biology, because the biology is where this gets uncomfortable. Parasect is based on a real cordyceps-like fungus that finds an insect and lands a spore on it. The fungus sends threads through the exoskeleton and spreads through the body cavity. It grows through tissue, muscle, and organs, replacing the host from the inside while the outside continues moving. From a distance, the ant still looks like an ant. It walks, forages, and interacts with its colony. The fungus rides along and waits. Then, at a specific moment, it overrides the motor system. The ant climbs, not randomly, but to the exact height the fungus needs. It stops at the perfect humidity level, as if the body has become a biological elevator. The ant bites down on a leaf vein and clamps its jaw shut with a force it cannot release. It holds that position while the fungus prepares to fruit. The fungus erupts from the back of the head and releases spores onto the forest floor below. Other ants walk underneath, exactly where the spores are falling. The fungus does not touch the brain. It does not need to. It produces chemical compounds that interact with the ant's neurons from the outside. The motor commands are overridden, while the nervous system remains structurally intact. The ant's brain continues functioning, receiving signals and trying to respond. The body has been rerouted around it. Paras is born with mushroom spores already on its back, placed there before it even hatches. The Tochukaso begins growing the moment conditions are right. By the time Paras reaches level 24, the mushroom is large enough to complete what the spores started. The first Pokédex entry calls Parasect a host-parasite pair, where the mushroom has taken over the bug. The second generation says the bug host is drained of energy by the mushroom on its back. It also says the mushroom appears to do all the thinking. Later entries say Parasect stays mostly in dark, damp places. That preference belongs to the mushroom, not the bug. Generation 7 makes it worse. The bug is mostly gone, and the mushroom has become the main body. If the mushroom comes off, the bug stops moving. Across decades of entries, the picture stays consistent. The insect stopped being in charge before you found it. Whatever you are looking at when you look at Parasect, the bug is not driving. The white eyes are not decorative. Paras has functioning pupils, but Parasect has the visual signature of an organism that has been vacated. Now the reproduction detail closes the loop and turns the whole thing into a system. When the mushroom has extracted everything it needs from the host body, it does not leave and find a new host. Instead, the fungus directs the host to produce eggs. Then it coats those eggs with its own spores before they hatch. The next generation of paras emerges already carrying the infestation. They grow up with the mushroom, reach the threshold, and become Parasect in turn. The eggs do not belong to paras. The continuation is the fungus continuing, wearing a new host. The Pokédex states that when nothing is left to extract from the bug, the mushrooms leave spores on the bug's eggs. The cycle restarts. There is no version of paras that was born free of this. The infestation precedes the organism. The organism exists to carry the infestation forward. Trainers catch paras, raise it through level 24, and watch it evolve. The game calls this evolution. It shows a flash of light and a new form. Players have been doing this since 1996. And the franchise never pauses to make it uncomfortable. There is never a beat in the animation where you reconsider whether pressing the button is the right call. You get a stronger monster. The mushroom gets a fully matured host. Now comes the Alola detail, the one most people passed over without registering its weight. In Alola, Paras exists, but the mushrooms on its back do not grow well. The entries suggest the mushrooms fail because the region lacks the moisture or nutrients they need. Then the Alola Parasect detail makes it stranger. The spores produced there are not very good quality. There is no special regional Parasect with different colors or a different type. What the games give instead is this. The mushroom struggles here. The host insect reaches adulthood, carrying a stunted version of its infestation. Somewhere in that gap is the only version of the story where the bug might still be home. Parasect can have dry skin, an ability that makes sunlight drain. HP and fire moves hit even harder. Combined with grass and bug typing, Parasect has a 4 times weakness to fire and a 4 times weakness to flying. Both weaknesses have been there since the first generation. In the original games, poison was also strong against bug, giving Parasect a 3rd massive weakness. The mushroom took over the host to spread itself across the world. Then it built itself into a body that struggles in sunlight and folds under a strong gust. The fungus mastered behavioral control and spore production, then forgot to check that its host has the defensive profile of dry paper. Parasect's base stat total is 405. Its attack is the highest stat, good enough for a physical attacker, but not threatening above the lowest tiers. Its speed is 30. Parasect moves after nearly everything, in every format, at every level of play. The mushroom directs the body to prefer dark, damp places. Then it gave that body a speed stat that means it will still be standing there when something sets it on fire. Competitive analysis describes Parasect with words that add up to documentation of irrelevance. The competitive summary is basically niche, outclassed, and difficult to bring in safely. Effect Spore can be useful, but only in narrow situations. Spore itself is one of the best status moves in the game. Parasect is one of the few monsters that can use it. That gives Parasect a role, a very narrow role, requiring support, specific conditions, and an opponent without fire or flying ready. The mushroom overcame an entire insect nervous system. In exchange, it received a body that competitive players use once and then protect from the wind. Outside the games, Parasect appears in the anime without any special weight given to what it is. A trainer's Parasect helps search for a berry, and others appear in tournament crowd shots. The anime never gives Parasect the kind of character arc it gives to other strange monsters. Parasect simply walks around in the background with white eyes and an enormous mushroom. No one in the show finds this worth discussing. The franchise treats it as a normal monster. It is something you might use in a playthrough if you like grass types and can tolerate the weaknesses. It is something you breed for perfect values if you need a spore user. It is something that appears in tall grass and can be caught with a regular capture ball. The white eyes are in every sprite, every model, and every official image across the franchise. They have always been there. The franchise has left them there for decades without explaining, softening, or contextualizing them. They are just the eyes of something that used to be there and is not anymore. And the body is still walking around. The Tochukaso on its back does not care about any of this. It is doing exactly what it evolved to do. Find a host, grow, reproduce, spread spores, and find another host. The precision is remarkable. Infected ants bite down on leaf veins at the right height, synchronized at the right moment. The fungus does not have a brain. It produces the right chemicals, the host body performs the behavior, and the cycle continues. Parasect walks into dark places because the mushroom prefers dark places. It spreads toxic spores because the mushroom spreads toxic spores. It passes the infestation to its offspring before they hatch because the mushroom has always done this. None of these are decisions. They are outcomes of a process that started with a spore landing on a paras that had no idea what was coming. Somewhere under the cap, behind the white eyes, the insect's nervous system is still present. The Pokédex says the bug is mostly gone, not fully gone. Whatever that means for an organism running on external chemical commands, since before it could remember being anything else. The mushroom does not know what it displaced. The mushroom does not know anything. It grew, and what was there before made room. In mystery dungeon-like games, Parasect can join the player as a potential ally. It joins the team, follows commands, and uses moves when directed. The game gives it dialogue, a name slot, and a bond meter that rises when you fight alongside it. The game does not address the eyes. One Pokédex entry says groups of Parasect infest large trees together. They drain the roots until the tree collapses. Then they move on to another tree all at once. The swarm relocates together. Every Parasect changes direction at the same moment, heading for the next target. The mushrooms are coordinating. The hosts are walking in formation. Each insect hatched from a spore-coated egg. It grew up in the dark, reached the threshold, and carried someone else's agenda ever since. There was a paras in there once, something with eyes that tracked movement and pupils that adjusted to light. Something that was, in whatever limited sense applies, present. The mushroom grew larger. The eyes went white, and the body kept moving. It is still moving. One early supplementary entry says Parasect spores are harvested and used in traditional medicine. The fungus that displaced a living organism produces compounds valuable enough that humans collect them. Parasect wanders through damp forests, spreading what took it over. At the edge of those forests, someone is waiting with a container. The mushroom is profitable. The bug was the vehicle. That is the complete picture of Parasect across decades of accumulated entries. A spore lands on an egg. The egg hatches into a paras with pupils. The paras grows, and the mushroom grows faster. At a certain point, the mushroom is larger than the body carrying it. The body is no longer deciding where it goes. The eyes go white, and the body keeps walking, spreading spores, and passing the infestation to the next generation. The franchise calls it evolution, and the evolution screen has a fanfare.